impressive.
The Hood Academy was a way of focusing everyone's attention on rehearsals, really. Every actor tells you they can ride, they can fight, and all that. And we needed people to absolutely look as though they could do this on a daily basis, second nature riding a horse. In the same way that people drive cars now. When we got here, and people went into fight rehearsals and riding practice, and it quickly became very clear that it was absolutely vital.
My name is Béla Unger, so I'm a stunt coordinator. So I have to teach the actors for riding and for fighting with many different weapons, and also moving, any kind of fighting movement. When they arrived, I had to teach them just a very simple step, because it's gonna be special, like that. Look at my, like that. So when we fighting and moving with the sword, we have to move like that. So that's why I had to teach them step forward, backwards, like that. That was the very beginning stuff. Then we started to learn the basic movement with the sword. From here, just do it like, or like that.
Like that. Okay.
So it has something like that. Like that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's good. It's good. So this is the movement what we teach 100 times, like that. It's a big movement, not the sport movement, because we have to make with the camera, to the camera. That's why it's much more attractive.
Well, we're learning sort of 5 basic moves to defend the head, the neck and the legs. And at the moment we're using one sword. That's a basic thing. And as you can see, Harry is graduated up to his axes, because he's quite smart. And I suppose, yeah, later today I think I'm getting to have a go with the shield, which should be quite nice, yeah.
Playing an outlaw as I am, it's going to be fighting an awful lot, and just to get a feel of it really. And I think I'm sensing the character coming through the fighting style really. It's probably going to be a bit nasty, I'll fight a bit dirty. So it's interesting that the character is slowly coming through the fighting style, which I didn't actually think would happen, but that's quite interesting.
You start off with the swords with the set kind of guards and blocks, and you're using all of the sword and all of the sides are the same, and suddenly you've got a very unbalanced weapon, so you need 2 hands a lot more. Béla was talking to me, we were both quite keen to actually not just use it as a kind of club, but actually to be able to use all sides of the axe. So you're doing that, but also use both sides and actually keep it halfway between a sword and a staff, so it's a pretty unique balance apparently, which we're just trying to get the hang of, and then incorporating the other axe at all, whether it would just be for extra stuff or whether you can actually fight at the same time with them. Yeah, no, I love the idea that it's a weapon that he's comfortable with just because he's a carpenter. He hasn't actually really ever used it against a person before, but if he had to, he'd always be very comfortable with it in his hands, and he knows how he'd manipulate it to that end. But my experience with axes has been limited before, which is probably a good thing.
There was a very good moment
when we first started, when there was a day when they presented everyone with their weapons, and they brought us all in, and Richard Armitage was there and he was presenting with his black, fantastic sword, and Robin with his bow and and it all went on and on and on and on. And the guy who was presenting was a Scottish guy who I kind of knew, and then he said, "And Little John," and I said, "Can I stop you right there, because actually what you're going to say is, here's Little John and his big bit of wood." And I got special training because I had to work out how to use a long staff. And actually, what the stunt people were actually doing was actually making sure I'm not going to kill another Hungarian stuntman with the big bit of wood, because you can't make a false bit of wood. You can make false swords that might not hurt, but a bit of wood's a bit of wood, and it'll hurt if it hits people, as it has done. Not me, thankfully, but lots of stuntmen are limping around at the moment because of that.
Yeah, go down, bang, or down, bang. Oh, there. Yeah. So it's a short stop. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, use your.
This is a Robin Hood for PlayStation generation. This is a generation that understands more than conventional television grammar. So you can have three things happening at once. You can have information. If you watch, you watch Chinese, Japanese cartoons, kind of the supercut images of people moving quickly give you a sense of people moving quickly, and you kind of go, okay, well, can you do that in horses?
Out that man's neck.
I mean, I think the horse riding is the most complicated in terms of all the different things you're doing. I mean, most of it is not about all the different moves. It's about being comfortable on a horse. So when you're acting on a horse, you can concentrate on what you're doing rather than worrying about what the horse is doing.
You find your balance, so you work without reins, and then they try and get you to take your feet out of the stirrups, lay back on the horse, just so that you can kind of find your balance without the reins and the stirrups, because they kind of control the horse. So you've got to be able to balance on the horse with nothing while the horse is moving. So I guess that's the start.
Ready?
We've all been sore at some point or the other, but Béla was saying that we're just getting better by the day, which is good to know.
I call it pony trekking because that's all it is at the moment. That is genuinely quite intimidating from day to day. You have to do a certain amount of intensive learning, but I don't think it's not necessary. Horses are not compelled to learn at the speed of actors attempting to get up to speed, but it's thoroughly enjoyable.
Well, the thing is, when you're at this level, the horse is 10 times more intelligent than you are. So they wouldn't let you near an animal for insurance purposes unless it was brilliant, and it would basically do what the wrangler tells it to do. I don't think it's got very little to do with us, to be quite honest. We just sit on it, and try and look stylish.
I've done a little bit of horse riding. I've done some trotting around, and that's about it. And I had some lessons when I was in England, because I just thought, I'm not going to get out there and be the only one who can't ride a horse.
I mean, I think the horse riding is the most complicated in terms of all the different things you're doing. But weirdly, I thought I was the most scared about that. I thought that would be the most difficult, and in a way it was, but I'd not really done much riding before, and I kind of got quite into that.
We set ourselves the job of making horse chasers be like car chasers. So, the Bourne Supremacy has fantastic car chasers. What can we do that with horses? And really, certainly on television, it's a generation since anyone's tried. And I think, judge for yourselves, but we think we've got it.
I loved Hood Academy. No, I loved the archery the best.
Yes!
Well, I'm the best at archery, interestingly enough. which none of the rest will admit, but we had archery competitions at the start, and I was by far and away the best. So they don't let me use a bow because of that, because it would show up Robin's, you know, he's a little bit.
Well, what we're doing now is archery, practicing with the long bows, and this is the Saracen bow that I'll be using in the thing, and this is my second session, but it's some of the guys' third one. And this is the most competitive thing that we're doing, because everybody wants to get the bullseye in.
Pumping.
Yes.
There's a lot of men in this show, and you can imagine that gets quite competitive.
Gordy! He's back! The big man is back. Who was that? Who was that did that? Well, I hope your golf's considerably better than your shooting.
We have to be doing it because we have to be quite sharp with the bow because we use it quite a lot. But it's good fun.
Hey.
Release. That's okay.
Release.
Just basically getting used to the bows and how they fire, because there's two different sorts. One, there's the long bow, which the lads are using, and then I've got to use this Saracen bow, it's called, which is obviously a lot different and smaller and more compact and more powerful. But it's really good once you get the hang of it. Once you can actually fire it, then you can start to try and aim, because at the beginning you're just trying your best just to hit the target, and they're basically guiding you. But it's good, and it's getting competitive now. If you've got a gun, then you've got the aiming, needle at the top, so it's right there. But with this, because it's here and it's gauging it, I mean, if you're aiming it kind of like that, then your eye line has to be in line with your hand, and it's just, because it just depends where your head is and kind of finding the right level. Because it's an ancient kind of firing weapon, isn't it? I mean, it's centuries old.
Hey! No.
Please.
Go on!
Right.
Again.
Do again.
Looking good.
Of course, it makes you feel the part, and also it's an integral part of Robin, because he's supposedly one of the best in the world. I mean, he never misses. So yeah, it does help a lot. And also because the bow is so different. This is made out of horn, and it's a recurved bow, which it says, in episode 1 he talks about it, and it's because of the shape of it. It gets more power and it's more compact. It's smaller, so it's easier to handle.
I think that is why I shall have you hang yourself.
Now I have maimed you.
It's a scratch.
Well, I won't use the word mastery. That comes through with the different kind of tricks that we use. I mean, it's very stop-start in the sequence, for instance, at the end of episode 1, with the whole hanging thing. That took 3 days to film, so it's all quite technical.
Archery so far. Robin tends to get to fire all the arrows.
We want the world to be real. Yes, there's this kind of fantasy element to it, which is basically to do with the incredible stuff Robin can do with a bow. But the rest of it, we want it to be grounded, and we want it to have that feel of being real, and there's jeopardy, and people can get hurt.
So it was quite an intense week, 2 weeks. Yeah, very useful.
Has to look good, it has to look believable, and we have been, giving it 110% for all the stuff we do.
The essence is that things will look good because people know what they're doing. They know which end of a weapon is which, and it's as much and as enjoyable as it is. It's there's a very good reason for it, and it's really I suppose essentially so that you know, the audience doesn't notice.